Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the Golden Designworks Slim. The OEM for the Slim is Bestech Knives. They do a fantastic job with their OEM work with a very sleek looking design using some top tier materials. Definitely a stunning knife, no doubt. Let's get into it. The Slim is a nice medium-sized EDC knife at 7.61 inches long with a 3.36 inch modified sheep's foot blade using premium CPM MagnaCut steel that is hardened from 61 to 63 HRC. This one has some excellent fine cut jimping that does a great job of gripping the thumb without being uncomfortable. You have a nice and thin tip there, great for doing fine precise cuts. You have a forward finger choil there that fits my finger perfectly. That also doubles as an oversized sharpening choil, so you're going to have pretty much the whole life of the knife before it'll even think about widening up on you. This particular version has a stone wash finish. There's also a variation that comes with a hand rub satin finish on it. You have a full flat grind that has nice and thin blade geometry, which comes down to around 15 thousandths behind the edge. Now I think it's time we do some real world cut tests. Boy, is this knife slicing like a champ. It's got nice thin edge geometry, and it's really going to excel at these type of cuts because you have a fairly straight edge. It's going to be a very powerful cutter all the way from that heel to the tip of that blade. And yeah, that full flat is nice and slicey. I enjoy a full flat, especially when they're ground this thin and whenever they're sharp. Now, I can't tell yet if it has any bite to it, but we'll find that out soon. And now, onto the ergos. I'm choked up because I want to have more control of that edge, and I don't want to get hung up or get caught in that forward finger choil area. When I'm in that part, when I'm holding it right there, it's pretty darn comfortable. I can feel the pocket clip. I wouldn't really call it a hot spot, but I can notice it's there. And, you know, it's pretty darn comfortable. You got, you know, somewhat of a contour effect going on here by these large chamfers. And, you know, being that you have that straight edge, it only makes sense to lift it up on a block like this. Now, I got to preface this real quick. This was the first knife that I started doing the testing with this thing of sisal rope that has the hard glue in it. And it didn't fare so well with this hard glue. Now, it ran into more than any of the other knives that I tested with this. And I don't know, you know, this is a factory edge too. And that always has a lot to do with it because pretty much any knife I've ever tested and then put my own edge on it and then tested it again performed 2 to 3 times better. So that's, you know, that's that. I don't know what the exact edge bevel is on this. I know what Bestech likes to put, but being this is an OEM knife, you know, and as thinly round as it is, they may have put something. They may have put a smaller edge bevel. I'll probably check that for whenever I do the review. But so far so good. And like I said, even though it's going through the hard glue, it's still sharp. It's still getting through the material, and I can tell when I'm going through a piece that doesn't have the glue because it is very easy to cut. So I don't know. I still haven't figured out what I'm going to do about this because it's looking like the entire case of rope that I bought has it. Now, this one was by far the worst, and I could probably go return it, but I've been getting rope this comes from Harbor Freight because of the price. And I've tried other rope, but other rope is just, it's not the same. And I've done this many so far, so I don't want to go changing anything now because I have a good feel for the knives when I'm testing them. It's also going to really excel at these drag cuts. Now, I think the tip is a little bit damaged at this point. Not damaged, but just blunted a little bit from the hard glue that I kept going through and slicing through. Now it's still cutting, because it's still got a decent, a working edge to it, but I can definitely feel it, which is a shame. And I hate that, especially being this is a prototype. So, but it's always a positive to see it still muscling through, powering through all the material. But I can feel it. That's one thing I don't like testing the prototypes, because I feel bad whenever they don't come back with a sharp edge, because I just don't have time to sharpen them. I don't have time to sharpen my own knives. But I'll have to let him know that. Sorry about that. My throat stopped up. But all in all, even with that, I thought it did well, especially for how many pieces it cut with the hard stuff in it. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Now, when it comes to the deployment on this one, you have several means of deployment. You have a front flipper, and I find it works pretty good. I can also, let's see, can I do the, I don't know if, yeah, you can do the reach around. The blade hole you can use for the reverse flick. And he has these lugs up here to be used as like thumb studs. I can use it. It's not the most comfortable for me. He said he's going to try to see if he can do something about that. I told him maybe put it a little angle right there, like the Kershaw Blur thumb studs. It may not be a problem for anybody else. My hands are a little bit worse than the average person, so you got to take that into account. And of course, if you don't like these for some reason, you could take them off. Now, there is a little ledge in there that keeps this in place. It's not going to hurt the functionality of it, because I can, if I want, I can get to the bottom of that thumb hole and flick it out just as easy. And if I want to slow roll it, I could do that as well, because it comes out far enough to where I can easily access it. For me, reverse flicking's not bad. This model, just like its bigger brother, the Caliber, had the button actuated frame lock on them. This was the first one to do that. That's something that he came up with. And if you wanted to, you could push that down and deploy the knife also. If you've never seen this before, the button is hooked to the frame lock to where when you push the button, it's going to push that frame lock over, as you can see there. Or if that's not something that interests you, you just want a regular frame lock. You can see he has chamfers on both sides right there, making it very easy to manually do it yourself. Just depends on however you want to do it. Took me a while to get used to the button, just because I'm so used to a frame lock. Anytime there's a different locking mechanism on a knife, I'm just used to grabbing either a liner lock or frame lock, because there wasn't all these crazy different means to disengage a lock back whenever I first got into the knife scene on YouTube. So it's nice that we have innovation, and I do love this button release on that frame lock. Just gives you something extra to use. Keep your fingers out of the blade path when closing, or I can go back to the original. But all deployment methods work fantastic. The detents dialed for all of them nicely, and you got a nice shake shut action there on ceramic ball bearings, giving it a nice smooth action. You got a ceramic detent ball in there as well. Nice crisp action, nice and smooth action. Now let's take a look at the handle area. You have a very, very clean side on the show side scale. You have the button that's hooked to the frame lock. And then you have Golden Designworks signature pivot. It's like a swimming pool. It goes down in there, concaved pivot there. I like the look of that. It gives it a little bit of extra contrast. I don't know if it was meant to be like that or not, but if you look, you have like a teal ano here and here, but then the ano on the button has more of like a green color to it. And just like on the back spacer and kind of on the pocket clip. So it may be just because of my hand oils touching this. You can kind of see like on the edges, it's more of like a blurple color. And of course, one thing I'm always interested to see is the beautiful milling pattern that Golden Designworks comes up with. And this one is very attractive. It offers some nice texture for grip. You have the vertical lines here on top that go all the way through, and then you have a section on this side that splits the knife down the middle pretty much, and you have the full length milling pattern there. Nice dark blasted finish, so that milling really pops. You also have a concave section for that button right there, just like on a traditional button lock, so you don't accidentally disengage it. You have to be pretty intentional about pushing that. You have a small partial titanium backspacer right there that's got a nice little ball groove milled in top of it that goes all the way around, and that allows you to see that your blade is perfectly centered. You have a blind screwed milled titanium pocket clip, just meaning that it's screwed from the inside, keeping it nice and clean, and very minimal construction, so this thing should be very easy to take apart. It's Torx T construction throughout your pivot and your one body screw right here, so this should be a absolute breeze to take apart. Something I'm always talking about, and you can really see it here. You have that same beautiful milling pattern on the lock side as well. And as you can see, it did not need to be broken up because of a lock relief, because he put it on the inside. God, I wish more companies would do that. See how clean that looks? Besides its striking aesthetics, the one thing that I noticed right away whenever I picked this knife up is that it felt nice and lightweight. So let's check out the inside. You have heavy pocketing in there, as much as you possibly could on the top and on the bottom. There you go, to reduce weight. Plus it's a nice streamlined design. This thing is very easy to carry. Comes in at 2.77 ounces. That is fantastic. Now, you can see your clip is tip up, right hand carry only on this. However, he was thinking about the lefties, and there are lefty versions that are completely left-sided knives, not just a left-sided actuated lock, which you could do that if you wanted to. And your lockup is sitting at around 50, maybe 60% or so. And even though your show side scale is flush with the lock side, you got the perfect chamfers on both sides right there. That is very easy to get your thumb in there, and if for some reason it's hard for you to get there, you have the button, so both work great. Your lockup, it's kind of hard to hold this skinnier handle. No movement up or down, left or right, nice and tight. Now for some quick size comparisons, you can see it's in the middle of both the Ontario Rat 1 and 2. It's also in the middle of the Spyderco PM2 and Power 3. It's very similar in size to the Vosteed Raccoon and the Devo Mash. It's also pretty much identical in length to the Flytanium Arcade and the Microtech Mini SOCOM Bravo. And here it is next to its big brother, the Golden Design Caliper. Now for my nitpicks and complaints, I've already talked to him about some of these, and he's going to try to see if there's anything he can do. Told him that these thumb plate, whatever you want to call them, thumb plates, thumb studs, whatever you want to call them, for me, the way they're set up, they're kind of uncomfortable just because I'm grabbing at the bottom right there. I don't know. I just think having a little angled spot to put your thumb on there would be a lot easier to do and a lot more comfortable. That said, you can remove these if you want to. So if it was getting in the way of your reverse flick, or you just wanted to use the thumb hold to thumb flick it, you could take those off if you wanted to. So that's a very minor thing. He already has left-handed versions. So my final thoughts. The Golden Designworks Slim is an exceptional blend of design, functionality, and versatility. Whether you're an avid knife enthusiast or just someone looking for a top-tier EDC knife, this one is definitely worth a look. These will be sold on the Golden Designworks site. Such an easy knife to carry. Not to mention safe, fidgety fun, and super slicey. I can't wait to hear y'all thoughts on the Golden Designworks Slim in the comments below. Do you plan on getting in on this pre-order? If you enjoyed this review, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more knife and gear content. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you on the next one. And remember, keep those blades sharp, smile more.